Well, hey, everybody. Happy Father's Day and happy Sunday. Getting ready to record Mike in the Midwest for you, episode 204. So let's go ahead and do that today. Here we go. Windows lined up. My pet peeves. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 204 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. Happy Father's Day to all the Disney dads out there in our audience. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had your favorite breakfast, whether that was eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits, and gravy. That was always a popular one around these parts. And got to get out there and have your favorite lunch. And you're looking right here in the eye, your favorite dinner, whatever that is. You know, it's Mexican around these parts. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But either way, hope you're with your favorite people. Hopefully, you're having a great day and just enjoying this Father's Day 2024. We're already here into the summer. Well, summer doesn't start here till a few days from now, but hey, it's the day to celebrate dads. And I've already done that with my dad. We'll talk about that here in a second. But hey, don't forget, I'm Mike Rallman, by the way, but you're a patron. So you know that because you are helping me with the Be Our Guest podcast. You're one of my co-owners of our show. You're a supporter. You are one of the mega fans. And I am eternally grateful to you personally for allowing us to keep the show going here as we have already gone over 2,600 episodes of the show. I know you said, Mike, the numbers are 2,500 and something. But we didn't. The reason that we've already, if you look at Monday's podcast, it'll actually be 2,600 if you go to beourguestpodcast.podbean.com, because way back in the day, we did not count the live call-in shows that we used to do once a month on Sunday nights, and they were 2 hours long. I know, crazy. Once a month, we'd do a call-in show, and it was 2 hours long. And we didn't count those. We just put on the feed, we just put live show, and that's all we put. So, yeah, Monday shows actually show 2,600, but we'll just go with what we have, like 2,510 or something this week. But either way, you've helped us put out a lot of podcasts, and I hope you've always enjoyed them, that you know that, hey, if I need something to listen to, I can go to the Be Our Guest podcast on Monday, usually get a trip report most of the time, as long as we don't have a cancellation. Wednesday is kind of a potpourri show. You'll get some questions, you get some current news maybe for the first 5-10 minutes. And then on Friday, we'll just pick a fun topic, just kind of have some fun leading into the weekends. And on Thursdays, if you miss the call-in show, which I really love these call-in shows on Sunday nights, because we just open up the phone lines, Scott and I, and it's your show. You know, if you wanted to be on the show, you don't have to wait months and months and months. You just give us a call and you're on the show. You can share a few stories from a recent trip. You have a question, boom, you don't have to wait in the queue. You don't have to wait for us to answer it. You just ask it right there on the air. There's people in the chat. They give feedback immediately and you get answers. You get ideas for a future trip. It is awesome. So speaking of that, we'll have our call-in show tonight, even here on Father's Day. So join us. It's 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. I'll be on the air. I believe Scotty G said he's going to be on the air with me. So join us and give us a call. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. You pick your place and we'll be there. We can do that because of your support. We have the software to do that. So thank you so much for that. The clubhouse is going crazy. So let me close that out. Whenever you hear one of those beeps, that's somebody posting in the clubhouse, which I love, which if you're not there, which I'm sure you are because you're a patron, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. Come on over, hang out. Worldwide, over 900 of our listeners are there all the time. We're talking Disney. We're talking international parks. We're talking cruise line. We're talking Adventures by Disney. We're talking the movies, the TV shows. But we have a channel called The Living Room. We just talk about life. We have a channel called My Corner of the World where we share what we're doing in our communities. I shared a frog that was hanging out with me on my deck last night. I shared a great gift. I'll talk about that in a minute. This gift that I got from Mallory today, but we just share what's happening in our world. We have a sports channel. It's called Sports Center. So if you want to talk sports with other fans of the Be Our Guest podcast, we have a spot for that. It's awesome. So come on over, beourguestpodcast.com/ Discord. So what's been going on here at the Be Our Guest Podcast Studios this week? Man, I titled the show Life Comes at You Fast. Holy smokes. We've talked about this on the show. You guys are my kind of family extended here, the patrons of the show. We have the big community of the Be Our Guest Podcast at large, right? The thousands and tens of thousands of listeners that we have all around the world. But then we have our Patreon community, which is smaller and more tight knit. And we get together here weekly, and I share stories, personal stories that I don't share on the podcast at large, right? Because we're a smaller, tighter knit group here on Patreon. And that's kind of what you signed up for. And that's what I try to give you here on the show. I let you know each week what's happening in Mike Rallman's life, not just Disney. You guys get that on the big feed. You'll get that tomorrow as we record the shows. But what's happening in my life, Mike here in the Midwest, in Missouri. And as you know, I like to run. I like to be prepared for my next race, whether that race is next month or next year, whatever. So, my next race that I'm signed up for isn't until marathon weekend. I have a long time until my next race, but I always say be prepared and you don't have to get prepared. That's kind of my philosophy in life. It was always my philosophy with my kids when I taught. I told them, if you are prepared for a test, you don't have to cram, right? If you just know, if you learn the material as we go, you don't have to cram the night before to learn all the material to get ready for a test. If you stay prepared, you don't have to get prepared. And I've kind of, again, it goes well with Father's Day, I think, as we celebrate fathers here on this Sunday. And if you're listening to this later in the week, we can kind of think about this all throughout the week, is that it's kind of a life coaching thing, right? If you are prepared for anything that comes at you, you're ready to take on the challenge. But if you're not, and you get put in a situation, a lot of times you might have a little bit of time to get yourself ready, but it's very stressful in those moments leading up where you have to kind of figure it out and prepare yourself to get ready. But if you're already ready, whether physically, mentally, academically, if you're ready because you've put in the work consistently throughout the time, you're good to go. You have the confidence. You feel mentally you're comfortable, right? Physically, you're comfortable. You can do that. And that's kind of how I try to live my life, right? And you might say, and I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Mike, you put in too many miles. And I agree. I'll be the first to say, I overdo everything that I do. Especially with the running. And I was like that when I speed skated. I overtrained when I was a speed skater in the 90s. With baseball, I did that because I loved baseball. I'd play wiffle ball all day. Then I'd have to go pitch a game at the Little League. And then I would go play wiffle ball in somebody's backyard when we got back home with like the porch light on. But that's just, I'm obsessive with stuff that I like. When I find something I enjoy doing, I can't get enough. And as you can tell with podcasting, I love podcasting. I love it so much. Doing a podcast once a week is not enough for me. I love getting down here in the studio and doing the show more than once a week because I have so much fun with it. And I don't like just doing one kind of a podcast. I love having this show where it's like a solo, almost like a monologue for 30 minutes, because I didn't know how to do this. This is the hardest show I do all week. When I don't have anybody to key off of, when I don't have anybody else to give me ideas for shows, this is the hardest one. And it's probably the least enjoyable to listen to. I'll be honest. I would guess, but I also enjoy doing podcasts of different varieties. My favorite is right now is the call-in show, because it's so similar to working on the radio, which is what I kind of wanted to do as like a 12-year-old, and even as like a 20-year-old, and even as like a 40-year-old. I wanted to be a radio talk show host. And that's almost exactly the same thing. We got the music bed at the beginning now, the house band. And then we just, hey, who's our caller? Where are you calling from? Who's on the line? And then Scott and I get to speak with callers, and we get to see what's on it's as close to a radio station as you can have. And I love that. And we get to build rapport with our listeners immediately on Sunday nights. That's so fun. But then on Wednesdays and Fridays, we take listener questions. We talk about topics. We get topics from the clubhouse. I mean, I'll be honest. The reason I do so many podcasts is because I'm living the dream. This is what I wanted to do as a 12-year-old. If you would have asked me, like, when I was 12 and I could see what I have right now in this studio, which is, used to be a bedroom. If 12-year-old me could see these two big monitors with this big microphone and these lights and keyboard and a mixer, I'd have said, "You got to be kidding me, Mike Rallman. You have all that. You get to send out like basically a radio program that's going to Australia and Japan and England and Canada and Mexico and all over the United States." I'd have been like, "Mike Rallman, did you hit the lottery?" And I would say, "Yes, Mike Rallman, you hit the lottery." And again, it's because of your support. So again, I thank you for that. But that's why I'm obsessive with things like this. And I think again, when you find something you love, it's hard to not be obsessive. And with running, and I'm getting to my point here, which again, my points are they take forever to get to, and I get it. I I just I like that when I get to the races, and I only really race at Walt Disney World. I like when I get there that over the last few years, I felt super comfortable in going to the corrals, knowing that I can get to the end of the race and not have to worry about making it to the end. Now, am I going to win the race? No. Am I going to set a great time? No. But am I going to be in the middle of the pack? Probably. I'm probably going to be a middle of the packer. And that's fine with me because I'm old, right? I mean, I'm not, there's 20-year-olds out there, there's 18-year-olds, there's 30-year-olds, and they're like super fast. I'm 50. I'm cool with middle of the pack at this point. But I know mentally I'm in a comfortable spot. So the reason I train so much is because I know that if I just keep that training up, I'm going to be comfortably able to finish the distances except for the marathon. The marathon whoops your butt every single time, but that's only one day a year, thank God. And so I try to tell myself if I can get to like mile 17 and then just all bets are off, I could run, walk, and just kind of crawl to the finish line. And that's what I've done the last couple of years. And that's kind of my plan again for this year. We'll see. But I just keep training. Well, my hips has been giving me, again, you're just going to get aches and pains when you train a lot and you get older. So I've, had my knee problem and I've had issues, but my hips been bothering my left hip. Well, here's what happened. And I posted about this in the Discord over in the clubhouse, but it's such a dumb story that I thought I would share it here on Mike in the Midwest. Cause you guys visualize this with me for a second. Cause I wish that I had some kind of a camera in my storage room where I keep the treadmill, because it was so unbelievable. I can't believe this happened. So here we go. This is why I'm not running right now. This is why I'm on a forced break, which is just mentally I'm losing my mind. You can ask my wife. I am in a bad place right now because I'm off my I'm very much a person who does the exact same thing at the exact same time every day. In the last couple of days, I haven't run and I haven't even walked on the treadmill. And my schedule is so off by not doing things at these same times that I don't know what to do with myself. But anyway, what happened was, so my hip was kind of hurting, but I was fine. And I'm like, a lot of times with these injuries, these kind of nagging things, they'll go away if I just keep going through them. Like my knee hurts, but then after a few days, it usually just, even if I keep running on it or walking on it, it does finally kind of go away. So my hip was hurting and I was just, so in the middle of the morning, I typically go over into the treadmill and just walk for like an hour while I'm taking phone calls for Disney or something. I do my phone calls on the treadmill a lot of times and I just use my noise canceling headphones. So I'm doing that. But this time I didn't have any phone calls to make towards the end of it. So I was done with my phone calls. So I had something playing on the iPad with no sound. And and here's the thing. Here's where and I knew I shouldn't have done this, right? Looking back, stupid, shouldn't have done this. I was playing with my phone on the treadmill. I think I was posting something on Instagram. So I was typing. So I had both thumbs engaged. So I had both hands on my phone. Never should do this on a treadmill. And I was walking at like a brisker pace, which it was like 3.6, which maybe that's not brisk for you, but that's like really brisk walking for me on the treadmill. Usually I walk at like 3.3. But I was trying to like get to I don't even know what I was trying to get to, but I was trying to like finish. So I was walking like a 3.6. So I'm walking, typing something into Instagram or something. I think I was like researching a charger or something to take on vacation. I was like trying to find like a charger for, I don't know, my phone or something. Anyway, and here's the thing. It was a beautiful day outside. Here's the ironic thing, right? Okay, so I'm in my storage room, walking on the treadmill like 10 in the morning, middle of the morning, just taking a little break between email batches and typing on my phone, researching on like an Instagram ad or something, trying to get a charger. Dude, my storage room, I mentioned, no windows, nothing. It's just, storage room. Power goes out. Everything, because there's no windows in this room, everything goes black. Because again, no windows in this room, just my treadmill and a bunch of like stuff. We store the Christmas tree, all the decorations for all the holidays, suitcases, all the stuff that we don't ever, or probably never going to touch since we moved in. I mean, everything goes black. The whole, everything in the house. I don't know why the power went out. It only went out for like 3 seconds. It went out. Whole house went dark, but I mean, I could only see the storage room because that's where I was. So of course, I'm walking like a demon on the treadmill. Well, if you've ever been on a treadmill, it just stops and you don't have any hands because I'm typing on my phone. First thing I did was grab my phone. I did not want to lose my phone. Grab the phone, and then and I got caught like in a weird stride with my hip. I heard my hip pop. And so I twisted really weird. And of course, Pam's on summer vacation, right? So I thought she was home. And it hurt so bad when it popped that I immediately yelled, "Bam!" Because I honest to God, I thought I was going to pass out. That's how hard, like I started seeing stars. And if you've ever had something like that where you've hit like a bone or something, I did see stars for a second. That's how hard it popped and hurt. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out. And I mean, on top of that, I'm in this room that is gone completely black. So I'm like, maybe I am passing out because everything is black now. Am I passing out, or is it because the whole room's black? I don't know, but I'm calling Pam. And here's the other thing. Like, I'm just like, I mean, dead silent. So I scream for my wife upstairs. Well, she's not upstairs anymore because she's on summer break. She has taken Riley out to our lake, which is in our backyard, that little path. And she's walking Riley to go to the bathroom because she walks 2 miles every morning and she walks 2 miles every evening. But Mallory's having a friend spend the night, which I forgot about. Her room's directly above the storage room. So she comes flying down the stairs. You okay, Dad? You okay? Do you want me to go get your mom? And I'm like, oh no, I think I'm okay. Because I was like, okay, I didn't pass out. I'm good. But it hurt like so bad, right? Okay, so but here's me. Here's where Mike is stupid. Mike in the Midwest, Mike in the stupidity. I stood on the treadmill for about 5 or 10 minutes and just stood there. Like my iPad was playing something on Pluto TV. So I watched that for a few minutes. And then I decided I got to finish these steps. I have to finish these steps. So I put it on 3.3. I keyed it down a little bit and finished the steps. I finished like 1 more mile. And I mean, it hurt. And then that afternoon, I finished another 3 miles later that afternoon. It hurt, but I finished. Okay. So then I got I hit what I supposed my goal for that day. So the next day was my run day because I walk some days and I run some days. The next day I went to run and my hip was hurting. And I said, this is going to be really hard to run today because I was having a hard time walking yesterday after this hip deal. But what I told myself was, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk the first mile and then I'm going to walk. I'm going to try to run 1 lap and walk 1 lap. And this was working. I was like, yes. And if I only run 3 miles, that's good. I'll just run 3 miles. This was Friday morning. So I said, this is going to do it. I'm going to get 3 miles of running in and then just walk all the rest, walk my 10 miles that I usually do. And so I get to the 5th interval where I hit the 5th like running lap and put it on 6. So I run on 6. I push 6 and I take like 5 strides and that the belt sped back up to 6. My left leg completely just dead limp. And I go down in a heap, just like a sack of potatoes. I mean, my left leg was just gone. My hip totally gave out. Everything gave out. So, and again, this is like 5:15 in the morning because I get up at 4:45. It's like 5:15, like 30 minutes into it. So I go down onto the treadmill. Now, fortunately, the lights are still on. I cannot blame this on the power going out. This is just my leg going out. onto the treadmill, and our treadmill backs right into the basement wall, which is just concrete. So I'm laying on the treadmill belt going 6 miles an hour. And stupid me, I took the string off the emergency kill switch because I didn't want to keep bumping into it. But it's a magnet, right? That you can pull off to stop the belt. So I can see it above me. But my left ankle is kind of wedged in between the basement wall and the where the belt goes back under thing. So like where the back end of the treadmill. So my left ankle is getting sandpapered in between the back end of the treadmill and the basement wall. Well, my right knee is on the treadmill, like on the main part of the belt is getting sandpapered. So I have a big old cut on my right knee. I have a cut on my left ankle where I was getting sandpapered to death by this stupid thing because I couldn't reach because I took the cord off. So I'm reaching, trying to get that magnet. Finally, I get it. Whew. I lunge for it. I grab the magnet, kills the treadmill. I'm like, oh, and I'm in a heap. So, I mean, it was just crazy. Now, in that, I didn't realize at the time, I pulled my hamstring on the same leg as my hip because I took when my leg gave out, I I did like a split going down because my leg just gave out, and when I was going down, like I did a split, I'm not flexible. So, needless to say, that's why I'm not running right now. So I just had to share that with you because here's the thing: I wish I would have had a camera for those 2 times because I'm a mess and life comes at you fast, right? Because I had it all planned out. I was like, okay, I'm going to take these 3 weeks leading up to the cruise. We leave on July 5th. I'm going to get so many miles in the month of June. June's going to be a good clean month because May was a mess, right? May I had the infection in my foot. Then I got the news about the anemia, so they told me to slow down because of the anemia. I'm like, oh God, May was a month. It was terrible. But June, I was right back on track. I was jamming. Everything was looking good. And then boom, this happens. So what I'm saying is, and I don't even know what I'm saying, but I like coming to you guys because you guys are awesome. You guys have been in these situations and I wanted to do this because I posted about this in the Discord over at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord in the Run Disney Corrals channel. And you guys gave me so much good advice. You guys heard me complain and whimper and be a baby about it. And I apologize for that. And I apologize for the story. If the thought of me biting the dust did not entertain you, I apologize. I was trying to get some humor out of it because I would have cracked up if I'd have pictured my favorite podcaster being an idiot like that in the mental picture because that's exactly what it was. It was terrible, but it was funny. But I just want to thank you because every single person that came over there was so thoughtful and kind and giving good advice. Like, here's things you can do to get over a hip injury or to mentally get yourself in a better place while you're trying to recover and why recovery and why rest might be a good thing. I just want to come here and say thank you because you could have just skipped over that post. You could have given a 1-word answer or a 1-sentence answer. There were great answers. So this is why our community rocks. I just want to say thank you for being there for me and supporting me because this community is great. I love you guys for that. Okay. So I just wanted to take time that's what's happening this week for the most part. Okay. Let's hit the feedback from last week's show about part-time jobs and how I had fun with mine, but they're kind of different. I was talking about Mallory's, going back and forth with what she's doing. And Dennis, who is just back from Europe, and I don't know if he's still running from the law, but he was running from the law, but he was cleared. So let's see what's going on. Dennis says, ciao, Mike. I'm back from the Mediterranean cruise regarding being detained by the police at the cruise port that you mentioned 2 weeks ago. That was a wild experience, to say the least. I didn't speak Spanish, and neither our driver or the police spoke enough English to explain what the issue was. 1 minute we were pulled over at the checkpoint. The next, they took my passport. Eventually, after everyone spoke loudly and slowly enough in their own language and made enough exaggerated hand gestures, we got the idea that it had something to do with the driver and car not having the appropriate permits to drop anyone off at the cruise port. They were making me sign something that I couldn't read, and I only agreed to do so after I was convinced I wasn't being charged with anything. Okay, again, Dennis, I am showing this to my daughter, Paige. because she's taking her whole basketball team to Barcelona to play in an exhibition tournament at the end of July. And I am going to bold, copy, paste exactly this and be like, don't get in this guy's cab. Be careful. I'm just so glad you're back safely. He continues, I reached out to a private company that took me to the port in Barcelona to find out more. It seems like Barcelona favors the local taxi system above everything else. Therefore, they're trying to protect taxi drivers by limiting who can drop passengers off at the port. While my driver in service didn't know that ahead of time is beyond me. So my advice, just take a taxi or a Disney transfer to the cruise terminal. Dozens of them passed us in the 40 plus minutes we were detained. All is well that ends well, though. We got on the cruise and had an amazing time. Dennis, I'm just glad you got back. You had your cruise and your ABD add-on and all that. The pictures were awesome. We're going to have Dennis on the show to hear about it. And I'm just glad that he's back in the States safely. We're glad you're back, Dennis MIZ. Trisha says, I worked a ton as a kid, enough to be debt-free after my undergrad degree. Wow. I worked as a nanny, a cashier, and later on in a deli. That's when I lost the tip of my finger in a meat slicer. Oh my God. Almost just passed out reading that. You got to give me a little heads up on stuff like that. I'm queasy. Oh man. Woo. I still put in the hours now, but some of it is just now housework. Working so hard makes me appreciate vacations that much more. Oh my gosh. I feel seen. Thank you, Trisha. That is so good. Yeah. I think working hard as a kid does make you appreciate everything so much more. Oh my God. Stop with the meat slicer. Oh, you killed me there, Trisha. Okay. It's Father's Day. I don't have a lot more to add on to this, but I will say I just had lunch with my dad, which was cool because my dad is really one of the reasons we have the Be Our Guest podcast. So a shout out to my dad, who is the radio engineer for the Los Angeles Rams. He has signed his contract for the next season, so he'll be doing that again this fall with the Rams. So I can't believe it, man. My dad is 70 years old, but he's still getting it done out there on the radio in Los Angeles. So he'll be taking care of the Rams radio network as they travel around the NFL. And he's always wired everything for the Be Our Guest podcast. So we appreciate him very much, because without my dad, we would not have what we have here with all the microphones, call-in shows, and all that stuff, because I do not have the technical expertise to do all this stuff. Also, I have my two awesome daughters. If you go to Instagram or any of my socials, I posted something that my youngest, Mallory, gave me this morning. And I'll tell you what, gifts from daughters can wreck you if you're a dad. And I got wrecked this morning. Now, I got some practical gifts. Let me just tell you, because we're getting ready to go on our cruise, right? 3 weeks from today, we'll be on the Fantasy. We sail in less than 3 weeks. We sail out 3 weeks from yesterday, so I can't wait for that. So we're down to 19 days till we go down to Walt Disney World, stay at Old Key West the night before. But, and I'll tell you, I got a pair of, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I got like fancy Crocs, like these canvas Crocs I can wear to dinner, which are super nice. I used to have those for teaching, which are really good. They're comfortable and they're nice looking. So I'm going to get those. I got new swim trunks, which dads always need swim trunks for vacation. I got a shirt that matches it it's like one of those UV blocking shirts. So you can wear it like a water shirt. So you can wear that in the water so you don't get sunburned when you're in the ocean, which I asked for because sunscreen does okay, but I'm not taking chances. I'm wearing one of those like water shirts so I don't get, the last thing I want is get back to the stateroom at night and be like a lobster and be uncomfortable for the next like 5 days. So I got that, which is awesome. And I got gift cards, right? Amazon, because there's always so many things you got to get from Amazon before you go on a vacation. Like I know I'm going to get us water pouches for our phones so that if you want to keep it around your neck, but go out into the ocean, not going to put my phone under, I don't, they say you can like put your phone under the water. I'm not doing that. I don't trust my phone to a $20 pouch to go under the water. I don't know if you've done that. Let me know. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest podcast. Those little phone pouches, do you submerge yours and take pictures? I don't know if I trust it that much, but I think I will trust it enough to take it out like into the water around my neck and maybe let it float on top of the water and take pictures, from out in the water. But I'm going to get us all one of those. And that way we go zip line and we could put it around our necks too. And it'll stay waterproof as well. So that's kind of the stuff I'm going to use my Amazon gift card for, to buy stuff for the girls and myself on vacation. I got a Disney gift card. So yay, I want to get a hoodie and a hat on the fantasy, hopefully. So that's kind of my plan with that Disney gift card. And here's one thing I got. Now check this out. This is pretty cool. And this was my other gift for Father's Day from the girls and Pam. This is pretty sweet. So I drive a 2012 Jeep Wrangler. So it is 12 years old. And I love this Jeep. I mean, it's paid for. That's the best part of the Jeep. It's paid for. It runs. It's a basic Jeep. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles because right now there's no doors on it. There's no top on it. It's got an AM FM radio with a CD player. And I've, just run, like, I have a little add-on thing I got on Amazon that goes through the aux port so I can listen to Sirius radio through my phone. So it's not fancy, but it doesn't need to be. It's exactly what I like. But did I mention it's a 2012? And I've had the top and doors off of it since 2012 every summer. So Pam got me this thing where they're going to come out to the house this week on Thursday and they're going to detail my Jeep. They're going to like thoroughly clean it. So it'll be like showroom clean. So they're going to clean the dashboards. They're going to scrub the carpets. They're going to clean out where the soda holders are and like the windshield and all that stuff, the top. So they're going to, like, this auto detailing place is going to come out and detail my Jeep, like clean the wheels and the tires and everything. I'm like, what? So I have to, before Thursday, I got to put the doors back on. I got to put the top back up so it's ready to go. Put the windows back on the sides. But how cool is that? What a thoughtful gift, because I love my Jeep, but it looks dirty. But I also say Jeeps kind of look better when they're dirty, but a clean Jeep would be nice too, because I have crud in there. I probably have French fry. I mean, I don't keep like stuff like that, but there could be a random French fry back there from when Mallory was like 6 in the back seat, because I never go in the back seat. Riley does. So that's a cool gift. So that's what I got for Father's Day. But here's the one thing that I got from Mallory that wrecked me. I have a favorite song. It's a country song, but it's not super country. If you ever listen to it, it's by an artist named Jordan Davis, and it's called Next Thing You Know. The lyrics to the song, I'm telling you, look it up. Next thing you know. Be careful if you're a dad. It will wreck you. And it's about how quickly life goes and how blessed you are in life if you just enjoy the small moments. But it goes fast and it hits hard, man. When you have a daughter who you feel like you just brought home from the hospital and she's 16 right now and she's just getting off of work, which she's right now doing. So, we can have some dinner together later tonight, maybe. It's amazing. Like it hits you because you're just like, preach, brother, preach. It's the truth. Well, she got this little frame and I put it on Instagram, all my socials, and it's got a picture. It's the first picture we have together. It was when she was born. They took her, as soon as she was born, they put her in the little incubator thing right there in the room. And when they were cleaning her up, she grabbed my finger. I put my finger into the incubator. She was screaming and she grabbed onto my index finger, and somebody snapped that picture. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was crying. Funny thing is, I have a Mizzou shirt on because Mizzou was playing that night in I think the Orange Bowl, and I still have that shirt. And this was 2008. And I have you could totally tell I didn't know what was going on, but I had my index finger was there and her little bitty hand was grabbing my index finger. It makes my index finger look gigantic. And that's our first picture together. And then in the other side of it's a 2-picture frame, is a picture that she took a couple nights ago of us together before she went to the Kenny Chesney concert. And just says, next thing you know. And I'm like, oh, stop. I mean, that I will never, ever have a better gift than that. Right. Because man, that is the honest God truth. Like, next thing you know, they're from your first picture with them to she's a grown young woman, that has a car, that drives, that has a job. We're talking about college visits. It's crazy. So the point I'm making is it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the dads. But I just want to reinforce, because we have so many Disney dads in our audience and also lots of moms listening today too. And you could just pass this along to your significant others as well. I would say that if you have little ones around the house, which I don't have any little ones beyond Mallory, and she's 16, so I'm past this. And I know that everybody hears this, but I worry that people might miss this. Enjoy the small moments. Enjoy the macaroni and cheese dinners. Enjoy the times where you turn on Disney Plus and get to watch a 30-minute TV show where they crack jokes with you. I know that that seems so mundane. Enjoy taking them to practice, the ride to practice, the ride home, asking them about how practice was. Enjoy the sleepovers with their friends, and they get so excited for that. The pizza nights. Enjoy those things because next thing you know, you're buying them a car. And the next thing you know, they're looking at colleges. And the next thing you know, there's a U-Haul trailer and they're gone. And they're coming back though for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it's not the same because I'm going with that with Paige, right? I love Paige, and I just got a text from her, saying how much she misses me, and it's Father's Day, but it's not the same, right? I wish she was here, but I told her, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see you in 3 weeks. We're going to sail together, and we'll get to have a week together to catch up, and she's 27. I told her, hey, you're like my wingman for all these tastings. I've signed you up for margarita tastings, and I've signed you up for mixology. Let's go. Let's have fun. But I also like just hanging out in the adult area of the front of the fantasy, up by Satellite Falls and just catching up. Like, what's your basketball team doing? As we, sit in the pool and hear about that stuff. Like, you guys were just doing community service in a food pantry. How'd you put that together? Who are some of the new players this season? And just seeing what life's like. Cause, while we hear stuff, and I mean, I see what she's doing on social media, it's so different when your kids get older and it goes so dang fast. So what I'm just saying is it's Father's Day. Enjoy every moment because being a dad is the coolest thing in the world. Last year, I focused on my dad, and I got an awesome dad, the best dad ever. He taught me so much. But man, I'm telling you what, being the dad beats all. Beats all. It is amazing. And I'm lucky. Mallory and Paige let me be their dad. So pretty cool. All right. So have an awesome week. We'll be back next Sunday with another Mike in the Midwest. But until then, I hope you'll join us tonight for the call-in show and give us a holler. And we'll talk Disney. Lots to talk about. Pam's going to be back this week. She sailed to Lighthouse Point. We'll talk about that experience. She also did Tiana's. She went to all the new stuff in Epcot. We got so much to talk about this week. The show is going to be awesome. So thanks for your support. We'll keep putting it out there. It's because of your support. So until we talk again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Thank you, Fulton. And thank you, Margie. Hope you're having a great week. And we'll see you tonight.